Because that's what everybody, you talk about any, like super successful people, like they just found a problem that existed and then they solved it. Like that's all you really need to do, right? And the thing is, and like to your point, is like getting people to understand that it is a problem, and then also that your solution is the solution. And you talk about people that, I don't know, that have been rejected like 40 times. That alone is like the only story that I would need to be like, it's not going to be rejection forever, even though it's hard. It's easier said than done. Like you might hear 15 in a row and be like, ah, shit, I don't know if I really want to do this anymore. But it's been shown so many times that if you just keep putting the reps in and keep showing up, eventually you're going to have that breakthrough. It might be, years down the road. But I mean, me personally having experienced what you guys are doing, like I mean, to me, it makes perfect sense. Like it's a no-brainer in my mind. And that's from someone on the outside looking in, like I'm not affiliated with you guys in any way. I've just seen what it can do. And I don't know. I'm excited to see like what's next and what comes from it.
Yeah. It very much comes from a place of passion for me. I've had passion in different things that I do that have stemmed in a few different areas. Creative and athleticism are the biggest ones for me. To be able to have the opportunity to make something that could help so many more people, and specifically like areas that I've had pain points in the military and in my own personal life outside of sports where I was just in a gym training. That would be a fantastic place to be able to bring somebody and say, we have something that can help you as a solution, and they can help you to not be injured and to be motivated and to not have as many friction points in your own life. I mean, that's such a big part of why I want to do this, because it helps people long term, and it's going to help not only the individual person, but help trainers and be a collective group of like a community that's built out of it, because it is going to be impactful beyond just going through the motions of your day-to-day, but it'll solve some of those problems for you. And at the end of the day, though, what is interesting from a creative and marketing standpoint, especially more kind of in branding than marketing, is telling that story so that you inspire people to better themselves. Because this app won't actually get you in more shape. And this perfectly well, because we had like just touch points on it, but that person still has to put in that work.
Right.
If you can provide them some relief in a few of the pillars of either excuses or injuries or the inability of knowledge, if you can cover some of those, that's great. But then if you can motivate them, then you really get to see their result shine more. And it would probably surprise people how much they can do if they are given the opportunity to fix a few of those areas. So that's where we want to thrive.
Yeah. Right there, that was the most simplified way I think I've ever heard anyone say it. Because you take someone that's completely untrained, like has no idea what they're doing in the gym from a, I don't know, fitness, nutrition, whatever perspective. You really don't need that much to like really make serious changes or, get stronger. And I think a lot of people don't want to go through the trial and error themselves, right, which I can understand, because there's no real reason why you need to do that anymore. And that's part of the reason that I have a job. But I did the trial and error thing, and I got injured 5 times from lifting. And I, did the things that maybe don't work as well, did work as well, whatever. And so to be able to provide that for people in a simplified way that's not going to be too overwhelming just to get their foot in the door. It shrinks the barrier of entry.
Yeah. And I think, when you bring it down to the everyday person, but really bring it down to somebody that's felt what it's like to be an athlete, or felt a couple wins, but they have sticking points. They have time issues. They have a personal life. They have a family. They have a job. But if they felt that before, what we want to try to be able to do is bring that back. Because at the end of the day, after all things are said and done, you're not an athlete for your whole life. No. You will hit a wall where you have to take a step back. It doesn't matter who you are. Eventually, you'll have to take that step back. And when most people do that, the one thing that they can still do is almost something they start with. It's just working out, sometimes in a gym, sometimes not, but it's just starting to work out. That's what you initially did, probably before any sport. If you'd done team sports, you'd probably done some of it. together, but you had always done working out together. And so if you lose that community, if you lose that athletic ability because you do get older, and there's ways to optimize this, but if you're taking a step away, like you're taking a part of yourself that's not easy to replace, how can you replace it? Like if you can meet yourself halfway and get that feeling deep down of like accomplishment again, and the feeling of those times that you had as an athlete, if you can try to mimic that and have a community behind you, it's going to be the best way for you to have longevity that goes beyond your physical, but really into your mental health and the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's a podcast in itself right there. Because that's my marketing right there. You know, like it's like talking about what happens like when you leave sports. Because, you know, in the United States, especially with the way that things are set up, depending on the sport that you're playing, you probably don't have much of an option to continue to play. You know, in a way that makes logistical sense. Like I could continue to play soccer. I could try and get on like an amateur or a semi-pro. I play for an amateur team, but we play once a week, if that. We don't train. But I'm not going to make a jump to the pro level from there, you know? And so then it's like, okay, well, is this worth doing? I mean, I enjoy it, sure, but then, you know, you're playing in a Sunday league and people are sliding in from behind, like at knee height. Like it's just not like, it's not worth the risk of injury at that point.
Right.
And so it is a weird thing because there's so many people, and I don't consider myself one of these people, but it's directly who I speak to after sports. Most people end up like myself or you, where the transition is easy because you know you're going to stay athletic, you're going to stay fit. Like it's just a no-brainer. Like you don't have to fight with yourself to get you there. And then you have the other set of people that end up, you know, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road, and then they realize, oh shit, like I'm not fit anymore. And the way to, you know, you're not going to go back and play anymore. You're not going to get the high school days back, but you can get at least the physical, mental benefit of being fit again very easily just from hitting the gym and just eating better and just trying to be more physically active.
Right.
You know, but it's a hard thing, man. I feel bad for people like that experience that heavily because it's got to feel almost empty. Like a piece of you is gone.
Right.
You know, and I didn't have that happen because I went straight into coaching. Like I was at the field today. I was kicking balls today. It's been 6 years since I stopped playing. You know, like it's still there for me. But there's plenty of people that do it for 20 years and like they just stop dead. Like there's a period at the end of the sentence. Like there's nothing else. It's not like, oh, I go play every now and then. It's like, I'm done.
Yep.
And that's so crazy to me.
Yep. And I've had a lot of friends from my diving days that are, you know, they work jobs, and they go about their life and stuff. And they do like, they resonate with you and they want to talk about the diving days. And I understand that, like, because I miss those too. I do, like, I understand that, but I did, along with you, I continue to progress in a way that kept me physically able to and physically an additive to my job. Like going into the Army, I went in the infantry and I started training like an infantry guy. And it wasn't like I couldn't ever do that before, but I got to find a new community and a new group and test myself physically again over and over and over again for years. Whereas most of my friends just never dove again. They never dove again. Most of them don't really go to the gym. And yeah, I mean, it's in a sense really rough to hear from them because it's exciting to talk about stuff that we used to do. But then I'm like, man, I'm still doing stuff. You could still be doing stuff, you know, like, but now it's way harder to get back on track.